This is MC Fireside Chats, a weekly show featuring conversations with thought leaders, entrepreneurs, and outdoor hospitality experts who share their insights to help your business succeed. Hosted by Brian Searl, the founder and CEO of Insider Perks, and powered by insights from Modern Campground, the most innovative news source in the industry.
All right, and after 3 unsuccessful attempts to start that and a little bit of teasing with the intro video, here we are live. Thanks everybody for joining us for this week's MC Fireside Chats. I am your guest host, Greg Emmert. I'm the co-founder of Camp Strategy. We are an end-to-end solution, and we do consulting for campgrounds and glampgrounds across the United States. We're based in Ohio. I'm happy to be here as your guest host today. And joining me, I have an esteemed panel of guests, both recurring and special for this week. So why don't we take a trip around the board and let's just go around Brady Bunch style. We'll start with Susan, make our way to Gordon, and then keep going around the board. So Susan, give us an introduction. Tell us a little bit about who you are and where you're from.
Well, I'm Susan Smith. I'm in Wynne-Parry, Texas, which is about 30 minutes east of Austin. And I am the owner and operator of Sinya on Lone Man Creek, which is a glamping site. It's one unit, and it's kind of a little Africa in the Texas Hill Country.
And that sounds lovely. And by little Africa, you mean the safari tents are very African in nature, correct? You don't mean that you have, there are no rhinos, lions, elephants. All right. As lovely as that would be, I would sign up for that if there was like a no trampling clause in there somewhere. But
just Texas animals.
All right, fair enough. Well, those are beautiful as well. And so moving on now to Gordon, who I believe is also in the big, beautiful.
Hey, y'all doing? Gordon Cook. I have Al's Hideaway Cabin and RV Park, named after my wife's grandfather that was from the area. We built it. We run it. It's all family owned, operated. We have 13 cabins now. 13 log cabins, 2 bell tents, 10 RV spaces, and an old school bus here on the property that we rent out. And I'm setting right now we have a big 60 by 40 outdoor pavilion with a fireplace, big outdoor kitchen over there, swimming pool, pool table, all that. And I'm located in Pipe Creek, Texas, which is between San Antonio and Bandera on Highway 16, not far from Wynne-Parry.
Lovely. So y'all are neighbors at this point, Susan and Gordon. All right.
We are.
Well, maybe next time we can get a tour of that, Gordon. That sounds beautiful. We'll have to get you next time. We'll get that camera mobile and we'll take a look at all that stuff because it sounds like you've got quite the eclectic mix of accommodations, which I'm looking forward to talking to you about. That school bus sounds interesting.
Yeah.
So moving on, Angele, thank you for joining us today. Tell us a little bit about you and where you're from.
Hi, everyone. I'm happy to be here today. And I am in Atlantic Canada. And I'm a co-founder of a resort called Creekside R&R Glamping. We're an award-winning resort, and we offer nature experiences where we have geodesic domes in nature. We have 10 accommodation on site, up to a lobster fishing boat accommodation as well, which is kind of new for us and very beautiful and fun. And we also have a Nordic spa, meditation yoga center, and many activities as well on site, from canoeing, paddle boarding, kayaking, fat bikes, all that fun stuff. So really happy to be here joining everyone today.
Lovely. That sounds like an amazing place. Like I was saying before we got in the room, I'm interested to talk to you a little bit about the conservation side of what you do, because I think that's something that maybe gets overlooked sometimes. It's more so accepted in glamping, I think, than it is RV parks, which is sort of my strong suit. You see a lot of RV parks, they look like a city built under trees, and they sort of lean away from the reason that I think a lot of people get into it, which is to be able to enjoy nature, but sort of safely on their own terms, right? Like some people are still petrified when they see a spider, but they want to go camping in places where there are spiders because that means they have trees and blue skies, right? And so I applaud you for doing that. That's I think that's something that people need more both in the industry and out of it. Moving on, Chris is the glamping guy. Now, I don't know.
Well, thank you for having me on the show.
Yeah, I don't know why I'm the host if we literally have a guest called the glamping guy. So tell us about what the glamping guy entails.
Anyway, the domain was available and I picked it up. That's why I called it.
That's a good name. It's a good name.
I run Monument Glamping out of Monument, Colorado. We have 2 properties. I've taken a step back this last year and really solidified the permitting that was required on both the properties. So I have only 8 units open right now, but that was a step back from 13 we had at the most in the past couple of years. And but we're permitted for 36. So I'm locked and loaded to really develop. So we're eyeballs up in permitting, and or not permitting, but land development, site development is what they call it in the government bureau. The bubbleheads like to call it that. But I also run Glamping Guy, glampingguy.com, and that's my educational arm. I've been doing it for about a year. I just launched a podcast myself. You can see it at glampingguy.com. I just finished my 3rd interview of a glamper out in Shenandoah Valley. Honestly, all of you could be guests on the Glamping Guy podcast, because the series that I'm going through is called the Glamping Masters. There are people who are really walking the walk and doing really. That's honestly what I wanted to have when I was starting off and clunking along and not knowing what I was doing. Just feeling like, man, if I could just be a fly on a wall of somebody who's doing what I think I'm doing right. And that's what I'm hoping to have Glamping Guy be, is that, hey, here's your opportunity to peer inside the lives of glampers and see how they're building safe, legal, and profitable glamping operations on their private property.
Well, what a wonderful, and Chris, I'm going to guess, I know you've got an education background, so that kind of slides perfectly into what you're trying to do there, right? To educate folks about glamping.
English
and your
teacher.
experience.
I left English teaching to do glamping.
All right. Well, but you're still in the educational realm, right? Because you can't get rid of that. But it sounds
can't
like
help myself.
It's
a bug I just can't get rid of.
You have also always had a bit of serial entrepreneurship, because you even took your educational side and turned it into entrepreneurship, right? So wonderful. You saw a need and filled it. That's great.
The market calls. You just can't.
That's right. That's right. And I'm sure, as everyone here is an entrepreneur, you know that once you get into it, it's really hard to go back to anything else, regardless of what you may have done in your former life. It's a bug that bites you, and you're kind of stuck with it. But
even my 30 years, now that you mention it, even the 30 years of education I've been, only 10 of it was really in the classroom. I was doing publishing and things like that. So I'm a serial entrepreneur.
Good for you, man. That's awesome. So I think we'll circle back at some point here, because I have a feeling everybody's going to have those development, growing pains type stories, and maybe you can speak to what you've been going through recently. And last, but of course, very, very much not least, we have Tess from Ranchlands. And Tess, thank you for joining us. Tell us a little bit about where you're from and what you're doing.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Greg. I just relocated to north central Wyoming. We moved from Colorado, actually right down the road from you in Monument. And we are large-scale ranch managers. We run ranches across the West. And on many of those ranches, we also run hospitality operations. We have just opened our newest location here on the Paint Rock Canyon Ranch in Hyattville, Wyoming, a town of about 79 people is what's on the population side. But we have about 80,000 acres on the ranch, and then it backs up to BLM and Forest Service. And we guide trips up into the mountains, working on the ranch. workshops with writers, artists, horsemanship instructors, just masters at their craft, based out of safari style tents that we have set up alongside the Paint Rock Creek. We are doubling our number of tents next year to 14, and really putting all of our emphasis on this new property that we have up here in Wyoming as we transition out of Colorado. So yeah, I mean, it's different in that we don't offer one-night stays. Guests come for 5 nights or more, and it's an all-inclusive sort of thing. But we've been operating for 25 years with guests and really feel so grateful to be able to do it into the future.
Yeah, and I looked, and I think we're just going to jump right in. And Tess, I'm going to stick with you because I think your property is really unique. Before we do, though, I of course want to thank our sponsors this week, which is Horizon Outdoor Hospitality. Scott and his team of outdoor hospitality experts over there really lead an excellent organization. So if anyone is watching and interested in third-party management for your camping or glamping property, highly recommend checking out Horizon Outdoor Hospitality. There we go. Now this is the part where I wait for, I think they're going to send me like $20 for saying something so nice. I'll probably be waiting on that. I don't think I'm going to get that today. But I would like to go back to Tess. Tess, I was looking at your properties earlier, and I think, we spoke a little bit earlier to, I was speaking backstage, and just some of the uniqueness that glamping really taps into. It is, campgrounds are learning the experiential side of hospitality, but glampgrounds, I think, are sort of forced to do it, right? Because you can get a pretty piece of property and put tents on it, but what do I want to go there for, right? Are you near something? What are you offering that brings someone in? Well, you want to talk about unique experiences. You have found a way to sort of tie in the conservation of ranching, which is, as you point out well on your website, and most people probably know, it's sort of it's a dying industry, right? There are fewer and fewer young people staying in it, and it's not something that people look at as a business or a lifestyle that much anymore. Things have sort of shifted digital, but you have found a way to promote it via your stays. Can you tell us a little bit about how you came to the realization that by bringing people out, putting them on your land, you could not just drive revenue, but also drive awareness for your industry?
Yeah. Well, that is exactly where it came from. My dad grew up ranching in Mexico and moved to the U.S. during college, and worked for an old school ranching family in eastern Colorado, managing properties. And one day he was meeting with, the guy's name was Dale, and Dale said, well, I think, Duke, that we need to look at hospitality. And his response was, over my dead body. I'm a rancher. I don't want to be dealing with city slickers coming out and, getting in the way of everything. And then fast forward many years later, he leased a large ranch outside of Colorado Springs, and the first thing he looked to pay the lease was hospitality, in addition to revenue from livestock. So for us, it's Ranchland Stay is what we call our hospitality arm, has really been a solution to being able to stay on the land and stay competitive with paying lease rates. And so it's one of the number one things that we do on the properties that we manage if the owners are interested. And then, on the other side, Greg, to your point, it's an amazing way to communicate the realities of ranching and the importance of ranching to conservation to the general public that lives, I think 98% of the population lives in urban centers. So getting people out to come to a poetry workshop or an art workshop, but they're painting cattle and horses and interacting with the people that are working the land, and creating that relationship has really gone a long way in creating a community that looks at our industry differently, and gives us hope that it might last into the future.
Yeah, what a wonderful approach. And I applaud you for finding that, because I think sometimes, we And I know I did this. My parents bought a campground when I was 20, and they were like, "You want to be a part of it?" And I said, "Sure." And I thought, well, I'll get to camp. Yeah, I was just an idiot, right? So then within a year, I realized, no, what I was actually going to do was work harder than I ever thought possible. We did that for 26 years. But for the last 10 or so, I got to steer the ship. And I thought, geez, if I'm going to do this, I want to go to work someplace that I really enjoy being and someplace that I want to be. So I selfishly started turning it into more of a conservation-based theme, right? And we led hikes, and because I'm just a nerd and I want to share everything that's beautiful in nature with the world. You have found a way to do that very much with, with your industry, and there's nothing selfish about it at all. Heck, do what you love, right? And you never work a day in your life. Okay, we all know that's garbage. You're going to work really hard still. However, you're going to enjoy it more, right? And so that that kind of leads me back over through to Angele's property, where she is leaning really hard into the nature side of it. And since we're talking experiential, why don't we go there for a minute? And Angele, why don't you tell us how you lean into that, and how you sort of attract that demographic? Is it through your marketing? Do you make sure to tell these folks, hey, this is what you're getting into? Or do you find that people come there and then sort of fall into it once they arrive?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that's a really good question, and I think for us, it really has to do a lot with the marketing as well, more than, people coming. I mean, there are some people for sure that will book maybe because they are in the region and they're looking for accommodation, and then they kind of get that experience. But for us, it's really the core of what we created. So we really do show that through our marketing and how we've been introducing our resort. We've really been targeting a lot of people that they're maybe in the city, and we have busy lives, and we want them to be able to go and in nature and have that experience and really relax, but also with the amenities they would be used to in their home, resort style amenities in nature. So that's what we're really focusing on here, and we're really highlighting the beauty of the nature in the region. Like, we've really worked hard to keep all the trees everywhere. We have a lot of apple trees, cherry bushes, blackberries, everything. And we've really made sure to keep that through the property so that the wildlife comes in. So we have a lot of deer and little foxes and raccoons and other cute animals. But they, and the guests, it's become a thing too, that when they come, they love that experience, and they get so excited if they see a deer or something. They'll send us a message and say, "Oh, look what I saw," and they'll send a picture. But it was a really big part of us when we built the resort, is to preserve that and really show that that we are that type of accommodation. And we've been attracting so many people from the city, and some people that even just want to get out of the city or their home, that want to go in nature and work in a dome. So we say, why work from home when you can work in a dome?
Yeah.
So we do that, and,
Great tag. Yeah, great tagline.
So they come and they enjoy the experience. And we've really made sure we preserve all the bird habitats. So we have so many different bird habitats there. Like, we have a lot of eagles, but we have a lot of blue herons that nest right in our creek where we are, and so many different birds. It's unbelievable. So it's really fun, so people, when they come, they really get that nature experience. But we're still not far from a city, we're just 30 minutes, but we've really worked hard to bring that experience and really keep nature alive, through the resort, for sure.
Yeah, that's wonderful. I think I love hearing stories about owners incorporating what they're passionate into that experiential side, because, all the market data shows us that the things that glampers expect, sadly, the top one is Wi-Fi, but whatever. I want it to when I'm out. I hate to say it. There are certain trips that I grab my backpack and I head down a trail, and when I see there's no more signal, I go, okay, I've arrived where I want to stay. There's an awful lot of trips where I still need that connectivity. So they need their Wi-Fi and their resort level accommodations, which you touched on is very important. But also it's that experience. What what can you give them when they get out there? And you and Tess definitely have a unique approach to that. And Susan, you've got a bit of a unique approach to it too, because bringing a bit of Africa to Texas is quite a unique approach. Whether or not you have the elephants, why don't you tell us a little bit about your operation and what you do there to sort of define the guest experience, and maybe some of the unique things that you do there to build on that builds that connection for the guests where they want to come back and repeat.
Sure. A lot of our guests are return guests, anniversaries, engagements. People come to work. We do have Wi-Fi. We don't have TV. This is the TV out here. I'm actually on the porch of the tent. But Senya is a custom-made African authentic tent. And it has a big king-size bed with down cushions, Nespresso coffee maker, clawfoot bathtub, outside shower, which is wonderful, and a hot tub. We're right on the creek, and there's a seasonal waterfall. So similar to what you all are talking about, people come here because it's beautiful. We're kind of on top of the hill in the trees. You can hear the birds and see the sunset and the sunrise. Hear the roosters and the coyotes. But people just come here to be quiet and get out of the hectic rat race, just to come and reconnect with each other. So we also have massage therapists that come in that do couples massage or spa treatments. So it's just kind of lovely, quiet, recharge place that we offer. And I love it. I love sharing it with people.
And that's really key, right? If you are an owner that enjoys sharing that opportunity with somebody else, it's sort of the difference between maybe a fisherman and a fishing guide, right? That fishing guide, he might like to go fishing, but my goodness, the joy that you get out of standing there and watching somebody else hook up when they've been trying all day, because you get to share the experience. It's very much what you're describing, and it's I know for me, it's also very, very rewarding, even though I'm not in that business anymore.
It is. Yeah.
Go right ahead, please.
I think it's one of the best places about having Senya for me. I also have a vegetable garden. People can get veggies and herbs and cook. And most of the return guests we know, and sometimes we text back and forth. So it's great for everybody. It's just a great spirit, calm place for people to come and take a little bit back to real life, hopefully.
Absolutely. And speaking of unique, we're going to move down now to Gordon, because Gordon, I said before we started, Gordon wins best hat, best beard, best background for the year, as far as I'm concerned. I don't know what Brian's going to say when he gets back, but Gordon, you got it all going on there, man. Tell us a little bit about, you mentioned some really unique accommodations. I believe you said a schoolie, they're a converted school bus as well. Tell us a little bit about your unique accommodations and sort of how you arrived at adding them. And maybe before we start, how much of your property is RV versus how much is glamping and accommodations?
Not a lot of it's RVs. Like I said, I only have 10 RV space. We kept it real small, and we done that for a reason. Smaller, less crowd, less rules, more relaxation you have. But we have 10 RV spaces. 12 log cabins that look down into the meadow. And I've got one log cabin up here that kind of overlooks the hills and everything. And then the old schoolies back there in the woods. And then we got 2 bell tents back over here. And then back by the creek back here, we got a teepee, an actual real teepee back there that you can camp in or camp around and hang out in or whatever. But when we bought raw property, and we come out here and we spent 5-6 months just camping, actually camping on the property, clearing, cleaning, trying to get an idea of what we had, the layout we wanted to do. And we saved every tree that we could. And it's worked out great. We have a lot of guests that come from the San Antonio area, Austin, Houston, Dallas, And they come to get away from the city, the noise. And we got really lucky. I don't know if y'all are familiar. I know Susan is. There's a lot of exotic ranches in the Texas Hill Country. That's where we're at, in the Texas Hill Country. There's a lot of exotic ranches. Well, just like any other ranch with animals, they get loose. So if you're sitting down there in one of your cabins and drinking your coffee in the morning and you look up and a bighorn sheep comes walking through the meadow, don't call and wake me up. Okay. You're going to see, you'll see zebras, you'll see camels, bighorn sheep, axis deer are everywhere. Susan, I'm sure y'all got plenty of axis. The axis deer just, in fact, the hunting season on axis here, there is no season there. It's open hunt on them. Monkeys, we got the lemurs, the little monkey from Madagascar. They're running loose out here. The ring-tailed cats are running loose out here. And because of that, when I cleared my property and built the campground, I put in 2 large aerobic septic systems. Mm-hmm. If you're not familiar with aerobic, is what an aerobic septic system is. It's basically a water treatment plant underground, and it's got water sprinklers. So we go through a drought. We're in drought just about year round out here. Every 5-6 years we get a little bit of rain, but with my aerobic system, that water's, I got a 7-acre meadow down there that's opened up, and all the cabins are lined along the outside of it, and the RVs are up here looking down at it. But I got 20 water sprinklers heads out there that water my meadow. So I pretty much get to mow year round. I'm probably the only person in Texas Hill Country that gets to mow year round.
My goodness, yeah, that's a unique attraction right there. Green grass. I think you could market that probably.
We just mowed this morning. After I cleared, I went back and I planted the native ryegrass for the deer, for all the animals and stuff that come through here. Turkeys, we got turkey. I got a flock of turkeys. There's about 60 turkeys in a flock. I mean, when they come parading through, it's the show is on. And people just love sitting up on their porches and watching. And I got armadillo. I got one armadillo out here, the state record. Biggest armadillo you ever seen in your life. He is huge. You better not leave the keys in your car. He'll take it to town.
Now, if you could send a few of those, you said zebras and camels, you send a couple Susan's way, and she really does have an African Plains experience right there in Texas. I mean, she's right up the road.
She don't have them because there's a lot of exotic ranches up around the
place. The Texotics is definitely a thing down there, isn't it?
Yeah, and they get loose. I mean, they get out.
They sure do. So
they trap them, catch them, put them back up, but they get out.
They get right back out again. And so, Chris, tell us a little bit about your place. I want to start on your offerings and sort of the same thing, like how you differentiate yourself, what's your unique experience or your value prop there, and then I do want to talk a little bit about your expansion, your permitting, because I think that's going to be pretty valuable to a lot of the folks watching today. I am sure that anyone out there who's built something or is expanding something either has a migraine or has had a migrating from the permitting and entitlement process.
Yeah, I had no idea about permitting. I fell into glamping by accident.
Your mic might be off, Chris. Are you still? I don't have you muted.
I thought I did. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
I don't hear you. Nope.
Can everyone else hear me?
Yeah.
Everybody else can hear you but me.
It must be you, Greg. I'm sorry. I'll just take it from here. But I heard your questions. So I kind of fell into glamping by accident, and I had no idea about permitting and things like that. So I got into a lot of trouble. I said some of my personal testimony is that I didn't have this figured all out, and so however I got into trouble, but I got out of trouble, and I really started just working it and making sure Oh, someone else. Wait a minute, Greg. Can everyone hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. I think it is on your end, Greg. So someone
I'm
text
still in the
Greg
dark.
because I see it coming up in the text. I'm just rolling with it. Okay, we're gonna keep going. Anyway, so however, that journey has been very educational and really enlightening and profitable. I think the money is what's drawn me into it, you might say. However, I really resonated with what some of you were saying. I think it was it you, Tess, or Susan? I can't remember who said it, but you said something like you really enjoy. It's almost like an adrenaline rush, isn't it? When people come to your property and then you give them a good time and they just they're blown away, and I could go on and on with stories about how the young couple, the mom, dad, couple kids, the people who come to the property and just have a wonderful time. It's something that just blooms in me. And my wife, we really have discovered a love for hospitality we didn't know we had before we got into it. And then we start legitimizing our business and start building and creating more venues and more experiences for people. I'm at the point right now where I'm becoming more and more unique. Some of you are really unique and you found your groove. I feel like I'm still finding my groove because I've modeled well, here I've modeled the big guys, the big dogs, and I don't know if that was such a good idea. Like the whole idea of glamorous camping, the pampered camping, the food and beverage, the the spas and the saunas. I just kind of envied all of them, and I don't know if that's really who I am. I'm more of my wife and I are kind of rebranding Monument Glamping and being hassle-free camping, meaning it's still a luxurious stay. You still get the queen size bed and you get the propane stove, but everything's done for you. Just show up with your food and beverage and have a nice outdoor experience. And that has been how we're kind of transitioning, and that's 2025's Monument Glamping brand is hassle-free camping. You're outdoors, you're close enough to civilization. You're not out in the boonies and where people might be afraid to be outdoors and be afraid to come camping, but they're really just local. I mean, we're really a stone's throw away from town, and people like that. The avatar that I'm trying to attract, they really do enjoy that. It's more the staycationer than the rugged outdoorsman who was kind of like me. I kind of built the campground for me rather than for the for the market. The market really is for people who are busting out of Dodge, busting out of Colorado Springs, busting out of Denver, and they just want to have a nice experience outdoors with their loved one. And then I'm there ready to accommodate for them. And that's who Randy and I really like. We really don't like the howdy-towdy types that want everything done for them. We don't really like those kinds of guests. We like the kind of guests who are some of our favorite guys, like a single dad who has custody of his kids for the weekend. Boom, we're all over that. We love it. We hey, stay in the tent, ride the zip line, play in the creek. That's what we would like, versus the honeymooner who really does expect more than we're willing to give. and that to me is really where I'm at personally, and trying to address a market need, the glamping groove that I'm trying to get into.
That's really excellent that you point that out, because I think it's very important to build. You want to build the property that you want to be at, right? Because you're going to be there working it. Even if you've got somebody like Horizon, today's sponsor of the show, if I can throw that in, even if you've got somebody like them and they're running the third party for you, you're going to have to work this thing at some point. It's not going to be totally hands off, right? You want to have some place that you enjoy going, that the experience that you provide, you enjoy providing. Otherwise, those 10-hour days feel like 30-hour days. You feel like there's no respite if you're constantly providing something to a guest that you just don't enjoy. So really, congratulations on discovering that, because I think that takes a long time for some people. They end up feeling like, well, that guy's really successful, I just want to be like that guy. And they don't take away what's really important from that guy, which is how they found their way to being successful. They think you take that person's recipe, you add other ingredients, and then it's going to work for me. And it doesn't always work that way, as you just so well put it.
Yeah, and
Apologize.
let me piggyback on that, because it kind of took me
Go
5 years
ahead.
to figure this out. I feel like almost an idiot. Why didn't I come up with this 5 years ago? Because it would have been awesome. But I already mentioned, like, the single dad. That was a real situation. He didn't know what to do with his kids the weekend. And he rented my place, and it turned out to be the time of their lives. And that just almost moves me to tears, because it's like, man, I really felt the need. On the other hand, for a serious fact, I got a couple from Chicago, and they just raked me personally, like, to my face. They called me in, and they said how bad the place was, and we expected this and we expected that. And it's like it was such a bad experience as a host. But then Wendy and I kind of talked about it and said, do we really want people like this here? Maybe not. And so why are we branding ourselves as this beautiful, glamorous glamping site? Much like I'm trying to think of Open Sky. Open Sky will blow all of our minds, I bet. And it's just a beautiful place and 5-star hotel type of place. That ain't me. It's just a doc, and I don't really want to be that. And it's a bit of kind of like addressing the market with a little bit of humility. Like, I'm not going to be like these people, but honestly, that's actually it's a sweet spot to find. And when you can figure out that you are your unique self, and people here are coming here for an experience, a monument glamping experience. And they do get a big piece of Chris and Wendy Jeub. We make homemade wine, we make homemade kombucha, we put together these camping packs we call Colorado cookouts and things like that. So you do get a little bit of our personality when you come, even though we don't, we're not camping down there with you, but it is a little bit of, they want to experience who their hosts are to an extent, and I believe we're getting better and better at providing that. And our reviews are getting better from that. When we finally made that decision, it was a few months ago. We were assimilating to this decision, and we just some of our messaging and our emails and how we respond to people and how we greet people has been adjusting to, instead of blowing your mind with this 5-star hotel type of thing. You don't have to bring your camping supplies. We've got those for you. That's been kind of our language, our discussion, our rapport. It's gotten better. Our Google reviews have gone up, and our Airbnb and all of our reviews have been better because of that.
Yeah, you offer an authentic experience. That's what it is. It's authentically you, because you're not selling camping. You're really selling yourself, and that's something that takes folks a while to figure out. Gordon, I think you were trying to share something with us.
Adding to that, pull us up on Google anywhere you want to. I run a 4.9 on Google. You can't please everybody.
That's right.
But, and what Chris was saying, I am a 5-star place. Okay, you look at Booking.com, you look at Expedia, look at all of them. I'm at the top of the charts. We just won Commendation of the Year in the state of Texas from Texas Campground Association, Campground Owners from Taco. And we're simple. We are simple. We keep it simple. When you come here, I treat you just like I would if you was anybody else. It don't matter. Me and my family, we're here, and you're welcome to come, relax, have a good time, enjoy yourself, and people love that. They love it.
Indeed, they do. Yep, and I think that's a very common thread between all of our guests today. And in fact,
it took Chris said he stumbled upon it. And we did too. We also did, because I was just like Chris, we got to be this, we got to be that, we got to do this. No, you don't. No, you don't. You just be you. and create a place that you want to go. If you create a place and you look at your own website and you're like, damn, boy, I'd like to go stay there.
Then you've got it.
Then you're going to attract like-minded people. And you're not going to have, you know, when we started this, I heard all kinds of horror stories about people. They do this, they do that, they'll trash this, they tear it, blah, 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 blah. I was scared to death.
Mm-hmm.
I was, man, how are we going to do security? But we built the place that what we want, the place we'd come to. We attract like-minded people like us. It's simple. You know, our grass ain't manicured. You can walk across our grass. It don't matter. And you're comfortable doing it. You know? Yeah. And just like Chris said, the big payment is when you have a family that comes out here and they throw their kid their 4th birthday party. 7 years down the road, that kid's coming back to have his 10th, 11th, 12th birthday party because they
Absolutely.
love it.
Yep. Because you were intentional about your authenticity, which it really comes through to the guests. And again, that's kind of a missing puzzle piece that takes people a while to figure out. And Susan, I think you kind of leaned into that a little bit in the beginning when you talked about just how passionate you were. It's very easy to see on your face and listen to your voice and hear how connected you are to that place. Did you have an aha moment like this early on where you thought, you know what, we need to build this, like the other two gentlemen here were just saying, we need to build something that we're really going to love to come to. And that way, when we're selling it, it's not so much like we're selling, we're just telling people how we authentically feel, and then they get an idea for what they're going to get when they come here, because it's just that natural.
Well, I was lucky enough to buy this 3 years ago, and then I've done upgrades and kept it up. But I love to stay here when there's not guests here. So you're right. It's like if it's something you like, you're going to attract like-minded people, and it's very luxurious inside. I offer a free bottle of champagne and this and that, candles, battery, of course. But then outside, it's rugged. And so you have kind of both. And I think also the thing that I like is it's only one unit. There's no one around you. That's what kind of makes Senya a little different, is no one's right by you. You can't see anybody. And it's just quiet. It's you by yourself. Before my guests come, I send them an app, some information with everything about the property, how all the appliances work, how to get here, restaurants to go to, just about everything you can imagine. So they know what to expect. And then when they get here, they know how everything works. They can call me and text me anytime, but at least they have an idea, so they're better prepared on the kind of stay they're going to have, and if they want to, bring something or add something. But I've had engagements, and then couples come back for their first anniversary, and I'll never forget, a couple came and they had just lost their baby, and we sat out in the garden for hours and talked and cried, and there's just a spirit of connection here, and it's kind of really what it's all about. And to offer people, a luxury glamping, it's air conditioning, heated, completely shut off to the outside. It's like a little house, but then you can come outside and it's complete nature. So it's been a blessing for me, and I think everyone that comes here.
It sounds like it, and you can, again, it's very easy to see on your face and hear in your voice just how much you are intentional about your authenticity there, just like Chris and Gordon were talking about. And you mentioned a little bit of pre-arrival communication, and that leads me to a question that I have for Tess, because Tess, you've got maybe the most unique setup that I've ever seen or heard of. I think it's really cool what you're doing with the Ranchlands model, but I've got to imagine that you've got a lot of really unique things that you need to communicate to your guests before they get there, right? Yours is very unlike anything else they're going to find. So maybe can you take us through a little bit about what you do to manage those expectations so that when they show up, they understand what they're getting themselves into?
Yeah, for sure. Well, it's been a long learning curve, and just taking feedback and incorporating it as we all do. But we do have online booking, but no booking is confirmed until we have a phone call with the guest to talk through the stay and be sure it is actually what they think it is, and what they're wanting. And that really, generally sets us up for the right type of client post-relationship. And then, we have a pre-arrival profile, we call it, that we send to every guest that just collects information about who they are in life, who they are physically, what they're expecting, what they're hoping for from the vacation. And that information is as relevant and distributed with staff. And so everybody is very prepared for all 14 guests that are coming for that week. They're given a packing list, and then we have, any last minute needs, of course, on site. We're about 45 minutes from a grocery store or gas station here. So it's relatively isolated. So guests do need to come with what they need. And, our stay is very much a nature immersion. There is not Wi-Fi. There is not even a cell signal for most of the stay. So I think the type of client that is looking for that experience, is a little less fussy in terms of what they need creature comfort wise. But the tents that we have are, fully outfitted with, curated antique bedding, furniture, down comforters, and we partnered with Filson out of Seattle to outfit all of the tents, hot showers. You have all of those creature comforts in your tent, and then you just go out and have a big adventure during the day. And then the last thing is just a high percentage of our clients are returning guests. So they mostly know what to bring or tell their friends what to bring. So that really works to our benefit.
That's awesome. And that's you're actually a very high touch, hands-on approach, which is, and so you're doing some things that are a lot of folks are trying to get away from right now, right? You're having phone calls with your guests before you'll even complete the booking. You don't have the Wi-Fi, and still being very successful with it. So I applaud you for that, because that is, if you're out there and you're just reading market reports and contacting other glamping properties, they might tell you, oh, you can't do without the Wi-Fi. You have to have it for extended stays. Well, all of your stays are extended. So you've done it by creating the experience that they want, right? And that phone call, tell us a little bit about that. So what's that like? It almost sounds like it might be sort of an interview for your customers pre-booking to make sure that they're on board. Does that sound like a decent description?
It is similar to that, yeah. And some of our stays are very high up in the mountains and in the back country, where if a guest gets hurt, they have to be medevaced via helicopter. So that reassurance from them that they are, in physical condition to do this trip, and they acknowledge that is the reality of, getting hurt could happen on a horse-based vacation. It's for us, we have a person dedicated to taking bookings over the phone and following up with online bookings, ensuring that pre-arrival document comes in as it needs to, and then doing the follow-up contact as well. So it is a whole person dedicated to that, but for us it's been really important to have that human element with our guests.
Absolutely. Nothing more important than managing those expectations, and that starts with your marketing and advertising, goes all the way through to when your guests depart, right?
Yeah,
and Angele, I would imagine that you also have some of these similar not struggles, but challenges, right? Because you, even though you're close to town, you're really embracing nature. And as I said, I did that with my campground, and I certainly had lots of guests who were really into it. And then I'd have other ones that would, see a mosquito or something and jump on their picnic table and freak out, and or a raccoon goes through their site and they think it's gonna, eat their children or something. And it's like, what you try to explain, but this is part of the experience that you came out here for, right? So do you ever have any issues with that? And if so, how do you manage those expectations to sort of inform people that, well, we're going to embrace this stuff, folks. We're not going to make this a sterile environment for you. We want you to see these animals and be one with nature for a little while you stay with us.
Yes, that's a really good point. And for us, luckily, like from all the years we've been in operation and we've opened, we've only had one person that's ever had an issue with bugs, kind of being around. But obviously that's part of nature. And like we've heard on this call is that you can't really make everybody happy. There's always that one person that may come that have a situation or may not, kind of be surprised by that. But overall for us, we've never really had an issue with that. People know when they're booking to go glamping, so they know it's a form of elevated camping, that they can be prepared that they are going in nature. And and a lot of people that come, they love camping. We're really, like where I am in Atlantic Canada, there's a lot of rural communities, so people are used to be in the country and kind of have a bit of those experience. So I think that's kind of been a big thing. But for us, what I found really challenging, and maybe that's a Canada thing because we have colder weather right out here, but the hot tubs for us, that was a must. We had to have private hot tubs at every accommodation. 90% of people that called here were asking if we had a hot tub. That was really a big deciding factor. So when people went glamping, the expectations out here are really, they have really high expectations. They want to, if you're enjoying the outdoor in your nature, they're associating that with the hot tub, the high-end barbecue, like the green egg barbecue. So we had to put all those things there. And there's also, like, as the hospitality, the outdoor hospitality has really grown and evolved. And I found so much for us here in the eastern part of Canada since COVID. When COVID happened and people stopped traveling overseas or an all-inclusive resort, the parks, like even the national parks in Canada, had seen such an increase in numbers of people going outdoor that want to go camping and have those outdoor experience. So it's really grown really big in my region. It went from no glamping resort to over 50 resort now in a small province that has under 1 million in population. So it just shows. But as the industry grows and evolve, everybody's trying to elevate those experiences in nature. So the expectations of customers get higher and higher all the time. So, and so for us, it's been a big thing and a challenge to really keep up with those expectations and always keep elevating that experience, So, but the hot tub was a must, and we've included hot tubs at every accommodation, the green egg barbecue, but also the expectation of the local food. Like we really focus on local. For us, we're really big on local and the local farms and local artisans. So we do a lot of co-partnership and we do a lot of food deliveries package. We do private oyster chucking because we have a lot of oyster farm here as well. So we bring someone to do private oyster chucking right at your dome and our accommodation. But it's really been something that we've really had to work hard as a team to keep that and really listen to the customers, listen to what they're looking for, what they want, and really try to keep innovating and really keep making sure that everybody has, a wonderful experience.
Yeah, that's excellent. And I think what's really unique about outdoor hospitality, and I'm sure other industries too, but this is the one I know, so we're going to talk about this one, right? Is that so we've got a panel of what we have 5 of you here today. You're all 5 in the same industry. The 5 of you have 5 different approaches. Angele is chasing a very high-end user experience. Gordon has said, hey, my place is simple, and that's how I like it. Chris has his way of doing it. Everybody has their own way of doing it. You're all successful at what you do. So for folks out there watching, really important thing to take away from this is there is no one way to do it, right? There's no, but watch shows like this, contact these folks after the show is over. Everybody's so happy to share what they've learned. It's such an open industry, and you can find 100 different ways to do it. The most important part is just finding the way that resonates for you and with your guests, and then making that work. And that's where the joy comes from, and the success. So I think we're down to about 4 minutes left. So I want to go through. We're going to go rapid fire. We got a minute, less than a minute for each of you. We're going to go through the list and just find out what you got coming up and whether or not, Gordon, we're going to start with you. Gordon, are you going to be going to the glamping show here at the in the beginning of September? And if beginning of October, beginning of September would require a time machine. And if so, is there anything in particular you want to see?
No, I'm not going to be able to make the show this year. Unfortunately, our calendar is just so booked. We got a big motorcycle rally, Rumble on the River, here the last weekend of September, and we got to start getting ready for Halloween. I've come out with my own beard products, some beard shows. We got a full schedule.
That's awesome, Gordon.
We really wanted to come to the glamping show this year, but we're going to pass it. But I would like to say this real quick. What you said a while ago about building your campground, what we done, me and my wife, we traveled a lot. We picked out 5 things that we like about a campground. And that's what we based our building our campground on, was those 5 things.
And that really fast, what were they? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
The bed, clean place to stay, a big, nice hot shower, a big pavilion, swimming pool to hang out and enjoy each other's company and barbecue, and cook and eat, and nature.
Now, that's more than 5, but I'm going to let you have it. That's all right. Thank you, Gordon. I appreciate you sharing that. And Tess, how about you? Are you going to be headed to the glamping show? And if so, you got anything in particular you're looking forward to seeing?
I'm not. No, we're not heading to the show, unfortunately. But in terms of what's upcoming for us, we have a book that we just published with Rizzoli. It's called Ranchlands. That'll be launching October 16th. We're going to do a big tour around the coast and in parts of Europe with that, and a big launch party here at the ranch. And we are I didn't really talk about it a ton, but we do a lot of content around ranching, and that is a marketing piece in many ways, but also an education initiative. And that is all going to be moved under a nonprofit for us called the Ranchlands Collective. That is going to be rolled out here right when the book launches. So those are 2 things upcoming for us.
And that is wonderful. Obviously very near and dear to your heart. And really fast, where can folks find your book?
Ranchlands.com. It'll be available on our website or in any bookstore anywhere.
Awesome. Yeah. Thank you for sharing. Angele, really fast, are you going to be heading to the glamping show? Somebody please say yes. Okay, even if you're not going to be going, would somebody just please humor me and say yes? No,
yes, I'll be there, but I'm next.
I'm not going to be, unfortunately. I would love to be, though. Definitely something for me to look forward to in the near future. Definitely like a place I'd like to be. But so no, for me, what I'll say is, there's so many, the outdoor hospitality industry is growing, and it's so nice to see so many great experiences, featuring from ranchland, to just nature experiences, all across North America and all over the world. And for me here at Creekside, one of the things we've been doing quickly is we're franchising. We're franchising our model of glamping resort as well. So if anybody ever wants to learn about what we're doing, you can look at rnrglamping.com as well.
Awesome. Thank you, Angele. Thank you so much for being here. And we're a little over. So Susan, I apologize, but you've got to go. Whoop, I can't even work the screen anymore. Susan, are you going to be at the glamping show? Uh-oh, I think I lost sound. I don't know if you guys can hear Susan, but I cannot.
Can't hear you, Susan.
I took it off because the wind is so.
There you are.
No, I can't. I wish I could. I've got some personal stuff coming up, but next year I'll be there next year.
All right.
We're just getting ready for the cool weather in Texas.
Awesome. Well, thank you for being on the show today, and maybe we'll catch you next time. And now, rounding it out with someone that I
will be at the glamping show.
Right. Yes, I won't be there alone. I will be there as well, Chris.
In fact, I'm one of the speakers. I am speaking.
Oh, that's right.
For the glamping show, American Glamping Association, but also for the White Duck tent. So they have a little display that they are going to have me there. So I'll be talking the thing. I live only an hour away, so I don't know why all of you ain't going, but I actually commute. It's very, very simple for me to get up there, and it's quite the show. I'll be doing a little recap on Glamping Guy of the show. I've got some big plans for connecting with the American Glamping Association, talking them up and helping spread the word about how awesome glamping is.
Indeed it is. And thank you for being here today, Chris. And I look forward to seeing you. I'll get to meet you face to face at the show in a couple of weeks.
Wonderful.
And we are a little over, so we're going to call it for today, folks. But thank you for being here for this, for today's MC Fireside Chats, again, brought to you by Horizon Outdoor Hospitality. And I'm sweating, and because I get nervous doing this. This is my first time hosting. Hopefully Brian doesn't wield his axe and chop me, and I get to do this again, because I really enjoyed the conversation.
Well, you promoted the sponsor a heck of a lot more than Brian ever has, so that's awesome. Horizon, way to go, Horizon!
I'm watching my app, and I'm not seeing any dollars come through yet, but I'm hoping that maybe there's a kickback involved. So anyway, thank you everyone for tuning in today, and thank you all for joining us. Have a great day, and go glamping industry, right? It's great. Thanks, guys, for being here.
Thank you.
Thanks, Greg. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for joining us for this episode of MC Fireside Chats with your host, Brian Searl. Have a suggestion for a show idea? Want your campground or company in a future episode? Email us at hello@moderncampground.com. Get your daily dose of news from moderncampground.com. And be sure to join us next week for more insights into the fascinating world of outdoor hospitality.